Hello everybody, welcome to our third and last video of the free portion of the course for product owners to be awesome, helping Scrum Masters and Agile coaches work with their product owners so that they are awesome and help the team and help us reach success with the product that we are developing and delivering. In this third video, we're going to focus specifically on metrics that matter for product decision making. We'll talk about actionable metrics, the ones we want to collect, to understand, and to analyze, versus vanity metrics, metrics that drive us all over the place. So now, just a short word about me. I'm Vasco Duarte. I'm also the host of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, and the toolbox here means something. All of this course, and also the paid version of this course, has a lot of tools you can apply in your work in order to help your product owners, the product owners working with you, to do an awesome job. Now, why I created this course is, of course, we've all been there. I mean, I've been a product owner, new on the job. I attended the training, I understood a little bit about Scrum, but it wasn't the same as having the experience that I have right now, having been a developer, a product owner, a manager, understanding why Agile is there. So we need to help our product owners because at the end of the day, if we help the product owners, we are helping the teams. Now, let me just say this, that product owners are like entrepreneurs. And what that means is that they need to focus on the product as if it were their business. If they are too distant from understanding the metrics for their product, they can't help the team succeed. And more likely, if they don't focus on the metrics, what will happen is that they will want to do this, that, and the other thing, and it will be a mess. The product backlog will be overflowing with great ideas that have no impact whatsoever in the market. So we need to be very conscious about where we want to drive the product and how we measure if we are getting there. Therefore, we need to focus on the right metrics. And what are the right metrics? Well, right metrics help us make prioritization decisions. They help us understand what causes or not product success. Causality is an extremely important aspect, as we will see in a second. But they also help us drive the product to deliver on the business success we want. Because don't forget, the product is one part of the whole business. And of course, more on this also in another portion of the course, not in this video, unfortunately, because we can't have all of the videos available for free, because, you know, in the end of the day, I still need to pay for the rent. So, of course, this video is totally free, but there will be other portions of the course where we tackle, okay, so we understand metrics, we know what metrics are good and which one are not good. So how do we now link that to product success? How do we go from understanding what are good metrics to driving product success using those metrics? And that will be available in another portion of the course. But right now, right metrics, this is what we want to focus on, right? So metrics that drive more of the same are not the right metrics. Metrics that don't allow us to make decisions are not the right metrics. Metrics for which causality is not possible to assess are not the right metrics. I'll give you a concrete example. On the podcast, the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, we were trying to increase the listenership of the podcast, and we did a bunch of experiments. We tried a lot of things, but even though we tried all of those things, we could not figure out how those things link to the growth or lack thereof of listenership in the podcast. Therefore, we were focusing on the wrong metric. So we needed to go around and we need to focus on other things that we could assess causality for. And that's what we do these days. We focus on the metrics for which we understand the causality link. Now, this metrics that I'm going to talk about, this type of metrics, I've used to grow products from 0 to 10 million euros in revenue in a little over 3 years, and also from growing one product from 300,000 euros of revenue per year to more than 5 million of revenues per year. And the challenge for us as companies, as product owners, as business owners, is not to deliver. The challenge is to survive, to grow, and to prosper as product developers. So let's dive into this. What metrics matter and what metrics don't matter and why? Let's start with the ones that don't matter. These are what we call in Lean Startup vanity metrics. Vanity metrics are things that can only go up or down depending on what is better for that specific point in time. And they are also specifically metrics we can't establish a causality link for. So for example, cumulative number of downloads for an installable application, that's not a good metric. And the reason why it isn't a good metric is that it can only go up. I mean, it's a cumulative number, right? So for example, on the podcast, we figured out that the number of downloads per month is not really that relevant because there's, big jumps on a daily basis. What is relevant is what is the number of downloads for the episode that is released that day, because that gives us a clear understanding of what is the listenership for the podcast. So that's one aspect. We need to focus on the causality link, and metrics that can only go up or down, like the cumulative number of downloads, those are not useful. We want metrics that can go up and down all the time. Those are useful because then we can study the causality of what makes those metrics move. So what is a metric that matters? This we call actionable metrics, and these are the only metrics that I think entrepreneurs should invest their time and energy collecting and analyzing. All of the others, forget about this. So here's a concrete example. What is the percentage of active users, that would be our target, for those users that installed the application 15, 30, and 45 days ago, right? I mean, when we look at this metric, we might find that there's a drop-off at 15, and then we can ask, why is there a drop-off at 15? What is happening? And that helps us to study the problem more, to understand the system of our product, and to learn from it. That's why this matters. Here's another example. How many users answer a question in Quora after asking a question, right? The number of answers would be our target. The number of questions of the people who ask a question would be our cohort. Now, what is a cohort? A cohort is a group of subjects, a group of people that have shared a particular event during a particular time span. So, for example, we could say that the cohort of the people who saw the paid ad campaign we did, from those, how many are still active 15, 30, and 45 days later? And those would be our target. So these are just concrete examples. Now, what actionable metrics are is that they are metrics for which the causality is clear and they can drive concrete decisions, right? This is the important bit here. Causality is clear. And the model we use, the template we use, is something like a number of customers that do X, our target, after Y happens, our cohort. Here's a more detailed template. So number of customers that do X, and whatever X is, download, pay, buy, visit the page, whatever that action is, that would be our target after an event Y happens, and that would be our cohort. So for example, what is the number of calls to our support line, the target, by customers that saw the feature X, the cohort, on the website? Let's say that you release a feature for which you're afraid will cause a lot of support calls. Well, you can do a test on that, and here's a metric that would focus on this, because now we can compare that with a different cohort, the cohort of people who did not see the feature X on the website. And this will allow you to understand, okay, is there an impact or not, right? This is what we try to do as entrepreneurs, as product owners, is that we try to understand the success of the product with concrete, actionable metrics. Now, as Scrum Masters and as Agile coaches, we want to help the product owners really focus on these metrics so that they don't spend time collecting all kinds of other metrics, but rather focus on these metrics that have concrete, actionable causality in them so that we know what moves them. In another module of this course, we will also cover how we define the right metric, because there's a lot of actionable metrics, but which ones are right for us? And we will do that by deriving them from the crystallized business model, which we call at Oikosofi the business value equation. And how do we find the metrics that change every day? Because don't forget that if a metric changes every 3 months, like revenue, for example, that's not actionable. We can't do anything for metrics that change so slowly. Or if we can, it's going to be by accident, right? Like delayed, very much delayed effects are important, but we can't learn from them because we don't know how long the delay will be and so on. So we need to focus on metrics that change every day. And of course, we need to link those up to the top, up to the most important business metrics, which we need to define through the business value equation. And this we will cover in another module for you. Now, there's 3 videos on this free course. So if you have not received the other 2 videos, just please sign up below and you will be able to get the other 2 videos. If you have already gotten the other 2 videos, well, congratulations. This is the last one of the 3, and you can email me with questions or feedback that you have on this course. How can I improve it? Is there a problem that you're facing that I could help with? Well, let me know. The email is on the screen, and I'm more than happy to help you. Or you can get the whole course. All of the free videos will be included, and on top of that, we will talk about how to define a product vision. There's a workshop definition, a workshop description, facilitation guide, and so on, how to get to a product vision. We'll talk about roadmaps that actually work, because, don't forget that roadmaps push you all the way to the edge of waterfall, and we really want to avoid that. So what kind of roadmaps actually work in practice? Here's a preview. It's not a flat list or a dependency list of projects, and we'll talk more about that in that module. Then we'll also have examples of quick prioritization techniques that take 2 minutes to run instead of 2 hours, right? And this is extremely important, especially if the product backlog has kind of overgrown their size. So that's something we want to focus on. We'll also talk about how to size backlog items in a way that does not require estimation. And by the way, the No Estimates book will be available to the people who sign up for the course with this module right here. And also a method that drives collaboration, sizing the backlog items in a way that drives collaboration instead of focusing us on arguing over numbers. And last but definitely not least, we will also cover how to quickly craft acceptance criteria. Cheat sheet included, so there will be lots of details of how to do that. But the idea here is to craft the acceptance criteria quickly so that the product owners can then focus on all of the other tasks that they need to do, right? These techniques will also help other stakeholders, including the team, to define acceptance criteria, because I believe that the product owner isn't the only one who can define acceptance criteria. Of course, they need to review them, but they don't need to be the only ones defining them. And every one of these modules will have bonus material, and this bonus material will be actionable, concrete, things you can apply. So hope you join these 2 videos if you haven't seen them, or get the whole course even. So don't forget, you can always email me. So get in touch, email me, use the email on the screen. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.